Welcome. You're listening to and watching Radio Australia. My name's Jeffrey Shaw. My co-host is just sitting below me. Her name is Julia Chai. And below her again is our guest all the way from Lithuania. It's not for me. It's Julia has organised this wonderful, spectacular woman to come and give us a talk. And it's all about detox, stress and relationships. Of course, we just had a bit of a glitch with the computer, so obviously we could be talking about the relationship with computers. But having said that, I pass it on to my co-host and Julia. All yours, Julia.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Ray. Welcome to Radio FM 88 and Dreaming the New Dream, where we meet once a week on Thursdays to inspire and shine the torch on people who are dreaming the dream and living the dream and doing things differently. So today our guest is Rai Kersyte, all the way from the capital city of Lithuania. Welcome, Rai.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So it's good to see you. And as a bit of a background, Rai and I both had the great fortune to spend the whole of January, and Rai spent a lot more of that in Vietnam this year at one of the greatest hotels you can go to if you want to go for a wellness and a beautiful experience in nature. And Rai Kersyte really impressed me with the work that she was doing there. So I've invited her onto the show to share some of the insights that you can get from someone who's grown up in Lithuania, studied in London, worked internationally. I think you've been in Mexico before I was working with you as a colleague in Vietnam. So tell us a bit about yourself, Rai.
Well, I grew up in Lithuania. My mom took me out of here when I was 11. I didn't want to go anywhere because it was a precious childhood. You know, we had a lot of nature. We still have a lot of nature, which is, I think, part of the reason why I'm back here, you know, apart from my family. But we just live very close to it. You know, we go to forests, we go to the lakes, we spend the whole summer outside, you know, and most people have a summer house somewhere. So yeah, it's a big love of mine. And then afterwards, I moved to London, where I discovered a lot of things. It was, you know, it was a great experience to actually spend my teen years and part of my adulthood in London, which, you know, turned out to be the bigger part of my life. So it was very formative, you know, and all the things that we have available there culturally and otherwise are just, you know, amazing. After a while, you know, the natural side of me really took control, to be real, and I wanted to go somewhere and just, you know, be close to nature, which is why I went to Mexico. Just very nature and how diverse it is and all the different ways to I really wanted to discover, you know. So part of my quest has been actually just going around the world and learning about all the different cultures and what they use in order to overcome different ailments and all the different, you know, different things, talking about physical things, then talking about psychology, talking about spirituality. So my journey has been very, very diverse. And yeah, now I'm here taking a rest before I move to the Caribbean, which I'm very excited about, being close to the States, close to Canada, close to Mexico again, and, you know, in the sun. Now it's winter time here, so yeah, really feeling the cold now, but it's nice to enjoy the season sometimes as well. So yeah.
Yeah, before I sort of go on to the work side, I just really want to ask, do you have reindeer up there?
I do have elk.
Elk, reindeer?
Actually, we do. They have everything.
Yeah.
It's very cold, you know. We even have bears wandering in from Belarus from time to time. I saw a wolf last year, which
Yeah.
was phenomenal. It was so beautiful. So there is, you know, there's beauty in cold and in having these kind of, some people would say, like harsh conditions, because we learn to adapt and we learn to actually see the beauty in the hardships and what we can learn from them. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to spending the next one in the Caribbean, the sun, because that definitely my soul for sure.
So where in the Caribbean will you be working? And you know, you are a health program designer and you've done acupuncture and herbals. You work with nature. So tell us about this new work assignment that you're moving to.
Mm-hmm. So I was in Vietnam as a health program designer, and I was supposed to be there for a longer time, but due to the current global situation, so I just spent 5 months there. But I had a really great time. I loved Vietnam. It was a very rich experience, and you know, the people I met there, including you, Julia, you know, all the beautiful times that we had. Yeah, I made really good connections, and in the end, now the Caribbean is a continuation. I'll be working with the same company with a mom, and they've invited me over to the Caribbean, so I'll be doing the same thing, but just in a different location, which I'm very happy about.
Oh, that's lovely. All right. Just a quick hello to our listeners. Elizabeth, hello. Welcome to the show. Tom Davison, who's asking, do you have platypus? That's because he's so proud to have platypus in his local creek. That's a bit of Australian one-upmanship, I believe. Yes, but it's wonderful to have you on the show, Tom and Elizabeth. So Ray, hey, you talked about even in adversity and hardship, being able to appreciate and probably sort of find the core and the gem. When you are working with lots of patients, you obviously see them coming in from all walks of life. What kind of, over the time that you've been working, what do you think are the main afflictions that are causing humans to be sick or need to go on a healing journey?
That's a very, very good and broad question. I think it just comes to the basics, you know. What do we need? We need air, we need food, we need water, and you know, social things as well. Social life is very important, especially that, you know, we're seeing so many changes in the way that we operate in the world. It's causing a lot of people to really have a look aside and you know, come face to face with the life that they have created, you know. So my foundation when I work with clients is usually diet, because there's a lot of things, that little things as well, you know, that we can change in those to really empower us to feel better and to be the best versions of ourselves, you know. So when it comes to diet, you know, it's important that we're getting a lot of live food, you know, and we're eliminating anything that is killing us, basically just taking away our longevity. And in terms of breathing as well, actually, that's one of my key practices. I like to drinking water and meditating. So what I like to do is just literally just detox the body first thing in the morning, you know, having a calm and peaceful mind. I'm not sure Are we connecting okay? Because
Yeah, the audio's
TV
coming through.
oh, never mind.
The audio, so your face might
Pardon?
sort of, your audio's coming through, and sometimes your
Yeah.
video might freeze a bit, but the audio's coming through loud and clear.
Okay, good. It might just be me. Yeah, so regarding breathing, you know, it's very common for people to just have a shallow breath, you know, and just observe yourself right now. How are you breathing? And it's that common pattern that we have that's kind of like automated. And in order to reprogram that, I do breathing practices basically a day. You know, so it's just in the little things and the basics that we include into our day-to-day life. You know, it's I mean, in the end, it's a complex thing, but where do we start? It's not about kind of overturning our whole life and making a change overnight. It's a journey. You know, it's the step by step, which in a very, very long journey. You know, and now I'm very happy with my health, but I've struggled a lot as well, you know, and I've worked with, you know, diet immensely. I've tried every diet there is on the planet. And, you know, I've worked with all different kinds of herbs and therapy and what have you, you know. I've explored everything, you know, trying to cure myself. And finally, it all comes down to the way our body's functioning, you know. So the primary thing is the physical body. Do we have, you know, the digestion? Are we eating the proper foods? Are we assimilating everything? Are we excreting everything, you know? Are we going to the toilet once a day, every day at least, you know? Because if we're not, then we have a backlog in our system. You know, we have toxins that are continuing to circulate through our system, you know, and when we have that, is our lymphatic system working, is our liver working? So it's, you know, the physical body is just a vessel for us to do greater things. So once we fix the physical body, then we can have, you know, better relationships, and then we can have the space to be able to yeah, achieve our higher, you know, do great things.
Okay, so I think
So
I'm getting the,
you know, to sum it all up, it's a whole, you know, big picture, but where do we start? That is the key, because, you know, it's important to be on this journey and to go finding the right, you know, it's like, imagine like a knot. If you don't find the right place where to untie it, you're just going to be going around in circles. So the key is finding the root cause of what is happening, you know, and not everybody can find it. You know, sometimes you go to the doctor and you have like some kind of ailment, let's say acne, and they give you a lot of, you know, medication. They give you some creams, they give you antibiotics, all of that, but you know, you're damaging the gut, you're damaging the microbiome. So there's no bigger picture sometimes that's, you know, being considered. So we have to be very mindful about how we treat people, because the key to medicine is not doing more damage.
I agree with that. Hey, you've got a really good blog. I was so fascinated with it, and you talked about
Oh,
breath.
thank you so much.
I'm just bringing everybody to that particular website of yours. I was really taken by the words you said, because I could really resonate with what was said in that little story there about you meeting this gentleman who took a breath before he spoke, and then how you went in sync with them, and you found quite an amazing. Yeah, I think you must have had an epiphany or something. Is that? It's really quite profound.
Sorry, Jeff, if I could just interrupt you for 1 second. I will try to connect to my phone rather than the Wi-Fi, and I think it will have a better, much better connection.
So you've done breath work as well, Jeff?
Just 1 second.
There's people like you who do qigong, don't you?
Well, a lot of people are doing Wim Hof at the moment, you know, as they sort of breathe out for the count of 7, wait for the breath to come in. But yes, generally, the short breath is the leading cause of like 80% of diseases, really.
I know in the surf club we used to do a run, swim, run. We had to do it in 15 minutes. You know, so you're running down the beach to a certain marker point, and then you go around that, and then you swim out, 300 meters, and you go around the buoys, and then you've got to come back and then race back in. So that really, you started breathing pretty deep.
Yeah, because you have to run fast. Yeah.
And then here she goes. She's just going to sign out. But you know what I found?
Hi, I'm back.
Yeah, audio is really good. But I found singing your own name was very, very powerful.
But you've got a very short name. So like, do you do the whole thing?
Jeffrey.
Free.
Yeah.
On an out breath.
It's like doing a tone, and you say you play with it. You just keep playing with it. And so the breath is. I found the breath was very, very important. And I know talking to the surf lifestyles, the boys, I said, "God, we used to do them run, swim, runs, And I've learned don't have to do that. Just sing your name.
Yeah,
because it's empowering you, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. So
we got it back.
Great. So back to you and the story about the breath on your blog, meeting somebody and synchronizing with a breath. Was that it?
Just about what Jeff said about your name. It's so important, actually, what you just mentioned. Thank you for saying that, because it's like so many like their name, or they listen to their own recording and they don't like their voice, and it's just so vital for us to be in tune with ourselves and really know who we are, and to learn to love ourselves. Sometimes we struggle with that a lot, and we have to go through a certain journey in order to overcome that. But yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, it's actually true. I'll jump in on that one because I still got used to my own voice, but I guess it's the mismatch between who you think you are and then the physical world reflecting your voice back to you, and you'd like to pretend that actually is not what you sound like, but you do. And then you'd kind of.
I think have more of an issue because they've got their maiden name they're born with, and then they take the husband's name depending on your country, or you pick the double-barreled name, and so you got to start bringing a whole new dynamics into your mindset, don't you? Both in your muscles. I mean, when you do muscle testing and you're saying, "Are you Ray?" It's pretty strong. You say, "Are you Jeff?" It's going to come straight down. It's just muscles saying, "No, my empowerment is Ray," isn't it? So you start adding all the other names that you've been given as a woman. I mean, you really have to embrace that, don't you?
Yeah. What do they do in Lithuania, Ray? Do they what's the traditional method or custom there?
Traditional medicine?
No. In terms of the names, does when a woman gets married, does she take on the partner's name, or does she keep her name?
Here we go. So this is actually quite unique in our culture. So basically, the man, my dad, his name was Kersyte. My name is Kersyte. My mother is Kersyte, which is, it's huge. It's a huge difference, So the children have, the girls have a different ending. The boys have the same name as the father, and then the mother or the wife changes her name. It's basically just like a longer version to that she's married. So, for example, the it. So either I'm gonna speak Lithuanian phonetically. So either or either. These are girls' names, but then Iene or now they've modernized it and just allowed to just put an E at the end. That signifies that a woman is married. So a man gets to keep his name no matter, you know, whether he's married or divorced or whatever.
So breathing and singing your name would have some power to it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And what are you mentioned the toxins? What are the toxins that we eat that we should be aware of, that we should that might be not just blocking our but you know, apart from sort of microplastics, which I think we're all aware of now, thanks to Greta Thunberg.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese and they
it's everywhere now because Earth is massively polluted, you know, so we really have to go out of our way to get cleaner sources of water, you know, like going to the stream and getting food that hasn't been, you know, genetically modified or is not from really bad supermarkets, you know, where, for example, when they ship like bananas, you know, they spray them so they get ripened on the way, you know. So there's a lot of, you know, pesticides and things like that, that, you know, this is quite common knowledge, you know, so we try to get organic as much as we can, you know. But then there's also the herbs that you take, which is a concentrated form. So if you think about diet, it's like a general thing for sustainability. So this one I'll get onto. So diet is quite, you know, a basic thing that sustains us in the long run. But then when we think about treating ourselves for something, you know, so we have the herbs like adaptogens or, you know, different supplements that we take. It's better to take remedies than supplements, you know, because supplements is kind of like, you know, we think that we need a certain vitamin, but maybe we don't actually, and it just makes our body work harder in order to get rid of it, you know. So once we have those substances in concentrated form, that's also it's vital that we have them from clean sources as well. So if you're getting any supplements, you know, make sure it's not from the pharmacy that is, you know, selling you medication, you know. And I don't even want to, you know, call it that, but that's what it's called these days. That's full of, you know, fillers and all different kinds of additions that are just not necessary to the body and quite harmful actually. So things. Then also stress, you know, stress is a huge toxin on the body, because the way, you know, when we're stressed, our cortisol rises, then we have all the different ailments associated with it, primarily cardiovascular health. In Chinese medicine, we say that it's all about the liver, you know, stress and anger and all of these, that the vibration of the emotion. And then, you know, that also affects our immunity and the way we think, the way we relate to the world. So yeah, I mean, there are many different sources. Like, for example, other things we don't necessarily think about are things that we don't necessarily ingest. So maybe household toxins, household chemicals, maybe things that we use, or, you know, if someone comes to clean our house, or we clean the house ourselves, are we using bleaches and stuff like that, or can we just use baking soda and vinegar and go natural about it, you know? And then toothpaste, I know a lot of people come to my attention recently, but a lot of people don't rinse toothpaste out of their mouth. They just leave it in the mouth to make their mouth smell fresh. And I was so surprised. I couldn't believe it, because for me it was always, you know, just getting rid of anything that, you know, is unnatural, and getting rid of any smells and you know, if you have toothpaste with fluoride, you're again swallowing all of that and then loading your system with fluoride, which is actually a toxin, you know. So there's a lot of things that, you know, we need to be mindful of in the quest to make our life simpler and to make our body healthy and to become more vital, you know, to be happy essentially. But regarding the picture that you just had up just a moment ago, this is, I've posted a blog post about adaptogens, but this is just a table that I got up on the internet that I really like. So this basically, adaptogens are plants that help our body cope with stress. So for example, you know, it's inevitable that we're going to encounter stress, whether it's, you know, emotional or physical in life, but we have different means to cope with it. So one of them is like breathing and meditation and coming to our center and calming down. But there's also physical things that we can also do for it. So apart from exercise, we can also ingest things. So we have herbs like ginseng and ashwagandha and cordyceps, even goji berries and adaptogens. These herbs all basically help us cope with stress better. So they're really good for increasing immunity, for prolonging life, for protecting DNA. So, you know, our DNA gets damaged as we get older. So our telomeres get shortened. So that's when you see a lot of, you know, decline, physical decline as well as cognitive decline. So just incorporating these herbs and berries into our daily life is so easy. Like right now, I'm drinking green tea with holy basil and fireweed. So I'm energizing myself, but then I'm also kind of like balancing the effect and supporting my system along the way. So you have all of these different herbs that, you know, are delicious as well, like goji berries, for example, putting that into your porridge. Or ashwagandha is actually really great for balancing circadian rhythms. You have turmeric, which you can add into food very easily. You know, and different cultures use different adaptogens. It really, they're very accessible. It just depends on where you are. So yeah, I would definitely look into that.
I get berries, and I get the goji berries, blueberries, cranberries, and I've learnt I need, and chia seeds and LSA, but I've learnt when they're all dried, and I've placed them in my breakfast bowl. I found later on that I seem to get pains in the gut somewhere along the line, and then I realised that I need to go and rehydrate them before actually. Yeah, so now I've actually learned to put them in a container, and then you get some water in there and just sort of hydrate them before, and then a couple of days before I then consume them. But they're pretty powerful.
Exactly.
Rinsing them before.
Yeah.
And even, you know, you talk about berries. I mean, everything comes down to going back to nature, you know, going back to how it originally was. So the goji berries, they will not dry, you know, we get them in dried form. Also with soaking, you know, if you add, for example, nuts or seeds into your food, like into your porridge or your smoothies, they're amazing for food and a great source of protein, but they also have anti-nutrients. So they have just many different substances in them that need to be soaked out. So if you soak the nuts overnight and the seeds, they become more bioavailable, so you can actually absorb more nutrients from them, and then works out the anti-nutrients out of them, so your body's just coping easier with them, you know, and they're actually more delicious that way to me.
So what do you drink? You take the fluid that they've been sitting in, or you just drain that off?
Pardon?
if you wash your nuts and all that stuff, and you might sit them in overnight or something, do you still do you drain off that fluid, or can you drink that fluid?
No. Fluid does contain all the anti-nutrients. So, for example, if you soak walnuts, they're the most visually dirty nuts that you have. So, if you just soak them in water an hour, even half an hour, you'll see there's going to be a brown color. There's going to be like things on the top floating on the water. So you definitely, like, your intuition will tell you don't drink that. And actually it will taste quite bitter, you know. So the water takes out all the bitterness out of the nuts as well. And if you soak almonds, for example, they become really beautiful and big, and you can see like the, you know, the vessels in them and stuff. And it's just so much easier on your, you know, because nuts are quite hard to digest. You know, there's a whole boom that's been happening with veganism and being vegetarian, you know, and those people who tend to eat a lot of nuts and seeds as a source of protein, but actually they're not very easy to digest, you know. So there was a girl who, you know, she was very radiant, she was beautiful, she was a yogi, you know, and she was always glowing, and then she went vegan, and so her diet changed massively, and she started getting all kinds of health problems, you know, and she was not looking as vital as she was. So it's very important to really understand what you're doing with the body, you know, like experiment with diets and stuff like that. It's very interesting. It's rewarding in a big way, but sometimes you can really damage your body with these experiments. So it's always better to consult a physician before you embark on something radical like that.
Yeah, so I'm actually just wondering, Rai, because you know, with all these things that are bad for the body, when somebody comes to you as a client, how do you actually work out what it is that they're missing or having too much of? Just pretend.
Pardon?
Just pretend I don't know anything about Chinese medicine.
Right, exactly. So it all goes back to Chinese medicine. So for me, that is the basis. You know, I've been practicing Chinese medicine since 2013, and it's always been like my base of assessment. But through the years, there are a lot of things that, you know, have come into my awareness. So with Chinese medicine, you have quite a lengthy consultation where you basically scan the whole body and you go through all the different systems and see what's happening there. And then also you have to kind of bear in mind the energetic body as well. So I've been studying yoga and, you know, chakras and all of that, and psychology, and just getting into those aspects of the psyche as well. And then more recently, I've incorporated biofeedback machines into my practice as well. So it gives you like a more tangible kind of physical visualization of what is actually happening in your body, to what level your organs are functioning or under functioning, you know, what is actually happening with the system. So it's very comprehensive. It's a very holistic outlook that I like to advocate for, you know, all my clients and all my friends and just everybody, you know, in general, because a lot of the time we go to a specialist and the specialist is a specialist in something, which is amazing. You know, there are so many amazing people who are great at, you know, what they do, but we also have to realize our limits. Like all the therapists have that, but it's just knowing where to direct your clients, and having the whole picture of what is happening, rather than, you know, going to a GP and then getting some kind of antibiotics for something that is actually a systemic problem, you know, not manifestation, not just a symptom, you know. So it's more about healing the whole person, and getting to the root cause than kind of treating the symptom. You know, it's all in line with the way Chinese medicine has operated for centuries, you know. But it's amazing to have all these different gadgets and technologies now, that we can use as well,
we've been
to really assess and to treat people.
Yeah, we've been excited. One of Jeffrey's friends is an Austrian, and he had this Russian software, and you go in and it takes the heart rate variability, and then you have all these different charts of information, including fractals and what your meridians are doing, and he's got a spectrometer as well. So I think we're health-wise, we're actually on a breakthrough. I sort of see that, you know, just like the internet brought computer and information to homes, I think on the medical side, you know, in terms of the analyticals, that is actually being given to the people and the therapists now. It's not, you know, just contained in the hospitals anymore.
Our mate Thomas.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it?
Staudacher. He's an Austrian, but it's Russian software. And the Austrian friends also use a lot of Russian. The Russians are at the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. And the etheric theme there as well is massive.
Yeah.
So we're going to say, sorry, I interrupted.
I was just saying, a lot of it came out of sending astronauts to space, keep them whole while they're out. I think that's where all the animal stuff came out from.
Hey, Kundalini yoga. What's the story there?
Love of my life. That was the beginning of everything, actually. As a teenager, I was very naughty. You know, I lived a completely different lifestyle to the one I live now, and a very different understanding, you know. And I discovered Kundalini yoga at the gym, you know, which was very unintentional. You know, I just randomly went into the class, and I actually went with my mum, and we started going, and we had this amazing teacher who was, you know, very motivating, and we learned so much about just, you know, yoga, also spirituality, and feeling good and feeling vital and vibrant and energetic. And that's, you know, where the journey started. So that was basically the first step. And then I went more into holistic medicine and Ayurveda, and then Chinese medicine, and then, you know, the rest of it. But Kundalini yoga is actually amazing. You know, it cultural information about it. But at the bottom of it, the methods utilized there are very diverse, and, you know, we use sound, we use mantra, we use focus points, we use visualization, we meditate in a way. So basically the meditation in Kundalini can take place in a yoga posture, or in, you know, different postures. I remember there was one class where we had to sit like this. So one hand was there and the other hand was there, and we had to sit like that for 11 minutes. So imagine me as a teenager sitting there, and it was just the hardest thing, you know. Like in adulthood, we learn to endure hardship. As teenagers, we just don't have that capacity. And it was very powerful in teaching me endurance, you know, just that one example. But Kundalini yoga is all about endurance, and all about integrating all the abilities that we have to use the body, you know, movement, sound, breath, focus. And then combining that with Chinese medicine has been just a beauty, because both of these tools, I mean, Kundalini yoga is more, you know, associated with Ayurveda, whereas TCM, it's like they have a lot of correlations, but they're not the same system. But just seeing how that all integrates and playing with it and assessing the body from a holistic perspective, and then, you know, it's not just physical things, you know, that you can do with the people, but you can also give them justices, and you can see which maybe center is unbalanced. And for example, if you have the solar plexus, which is unbalanced, you know, maybe you're struggling to go for what you want in life, and you have maybe digestive issues as well, you know. So all those things really correlate. All those systems, they're different, but they all come into the same whole, you know. So it's very fascinating to just play with Kundalini yoga and Chinese medicine and everything together, to see the beauty that it can deliver.
Have you tried Kundalini? Initially I was going, oh, but men can't do it. And now I'm going, oh yeah, men can do it. So Jeff, have you done Kundalini yoga? Have you tried it out?
No,
No?
Hatha.
You did Hatha, yeah, I like Hatha. But I'm actually quite curious about this 11 minutes, because, you know, in the Bible, you know, poor old Moses has to hold up the commandments. And it's obviously not just a test of whether he's going to be a leader. It's just, he's probably just raising the chi, actually, or raising the fire, raising the flames. But
and actually qigong as well. I don't know why it's been such a long time that it took to arrive into my life. So Kundalini yoga was the first thing, and I just kind of continued with it and was rolling with it. And then quite recently I tried qigong, but I never really got super into it. And then I did some classes with you in Vietnam, Julia, which were phenomenal. You know, just feel. I was like, where has this been my whole life? You know, and it's been amazing. But I'm sure Jeff has tried qigong, right? With you.
Jeff, can you admit?
It's Sunday morning, so yeah. So they got this lady in front of me, and she started to do the moves, and I just shut my eyes, and the next second, boom, I was gone. You know, like, and they just let me go, and I was just there. You know, like, your body seems to know what it's got to do, you know, and then all of a sudden you find yourself doing figure of eights, and then you find yourself down on the floor, and you're doing stretch movements, and you got to let go, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually for me as well. It was I just walked past it, and it's just, when I did it the first time, it just felt so natural. Like you said, it's just, you know, maybe in another lifetime or maybe in another dimension we do it naturally. So it was actually more like a, you know, homecoming in terms of movement.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, I'm going to make this public announcement.
It's a natural movement of the body.
I'll make this public announcement. I got invited to go dancing. Yeah, it's not a male activity here in Australia, but 3 months ago I was asked to go dancing. I'll tell you what, I've actually fallen in love with it. It's fantastic. It's like brain gymnastics, you know, and you got to integrate the right brain, left brain, got to think through the moves and the body posture, and then you got the female in front of you, and the energies and all moving through your body. And of course, we've got you on tonight to talk about relationships. So, you know, relationships in dance, or relationships in Kundalini yoga, or relationships with computers. I mean, might be a good time to talk about relationships now.
Yeah, we've only got 15 minutes. Ray, what do you want to say about relationships and health?
It's, you know, mostly it's just a relationship with ourselves that is the foundation of everything, you know. So are we, you know, listening to ourselves?
Say that again. Just backtrack. Say that again, please, Ray.
Yeah, just listening to ourselves and being in tune, and that's why meditation is, for everybody, I think, who's on this path, just taking the time to dedicate, just, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning, if you don't have time, just to yourself, to really recalibrate the mind and to tune in with what you need, just being nice to yourself, just a little time to
I love
whatever
that.
it is, there are so many different methods.
It's just so fundamental. So to be in a good relationship, you have to be in a relationship with yourself first. Be gentle to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have that. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
not be
And actually,
So yeah,
I just finished a book by Philippa Perry. Who's talking about, basically the whole book is about relationships, but it's called something like the book that you wish your parents read and your children will be glad you did. And wow, it was just so profound, because with meditation, what we're doing is we're basically recalibrating the mind, but we're also and 95% of what is happening in life, our actions are from the subconscious, so going back to our childhood relationships, going back to the way we perceived the world back in the day, is actually reflective of how we see the world now and how we relate to our partners, to our children, to everyone around us. So for example, if our child or maybe our partner annoys us for some particular reason, maybe there was something in your childhood that was overlooked, that wasn't addressed. So for example, let's say your child crying is really annoying you and you just want to ignore them, or whatever your coping mechanism is, that could signify that maybe your parents ignored you at that point. So it's basically just a way for you to shut down and to not address the actual, what happened. It's a way to run away from our feelings. So in summary, according to Philippa Perry, she has 4 great tips for correct behavior. So one is the ability to tolerate frustration. It's a practice. And I think in order to tolerate frustration, we have to be really at peace with ourselves and be able to remain in our center no matter what happens in life. And the second ability, so being able to not attach too much to the outcome, not attach too much to our perception, but be okay if something else happens, and see it as a way of perhaps better things coming along. We often get really attached to different things in life, people or situations or homes and things like that. But when they change, like for example, my relationships in my life, in the course of my life, have only got better, better and better and better and better. And it's just the same with everything, where if we're true to ourselves, if we're listening to ourselves, we just, make our life better. So it's just that flexibility to be open to new possibilities. And also the third one is problem solving. And for that, you have to have a cool head, right? And the one is empathy, so being able to see things from another person's perspective. So we can sometimes get caught up in feeling right or wanting to be right, but actually there is no such thing, and as adults, as we're grown up, we start to care less and less about what people think about us. Essentially, it all comes down to being aware that everyone has their own perspective and everyone is right in their own right. Just being able to accept life as it is and just let it flow, and just see what happens.
It's so simple but so true, isn't it?
What about projections?
Yeah, I mean, we know what we need. Our body knows what we need. If we just listen to, you know, our body crying out when we eat something, you know, or when we spend time with a certain person, it's all about being true. It's all about truth, and truth eventually comes to light, you know, just whether we allow it or we suppress it, you know, and just being able to sit there with the truth and to face whatever it is that we have to face. It just accelerates the process of our evolution, you know, of simplifying, of making everything just easier and happier, you know.
Even when the truth is not. I used to think the truth is always beautiful, but I've realized sometimes it's really, really ugly, but you have to be prepared for that as well. So you do have Ivan Escobar Azuara saying regards from Saudi Arabia, and Ruth Faith Wanjiku saying an awesome talk. There you go.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for joining.
Languages, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff's talking about the Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. Have you heard about that?
Of course. Yeah. It's quite hard to recognize, actually, because when I initially became aware of it, but I have all 5. You know, they're all very important, but eventually I think you just like with that in life, you know, everything comes in layers. You know, but what do you want to say about that,
Jeff?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, mine's quality time. You know, like what we're doing right now, it's quality time for me. Just exploring, like Star Trek, the bold you go where no one's gone before. You know, your 5-year mission. You know, so seeking new information, seeking and bringing it to the human psyche. You know, I enjoy that. So this to me is quality time. I like quality time for myself and just my own thoughts. I do have a quality time with my mates, you know, having that quality time. So everything's sort of fragmentized and compartmentized with all these different aspects of quality time. And then to me, that sums me up. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's recognizing that there's different parts to your psyche, and that they all deserve expression and impressions.
Yeah, well, when you're with that, like wherever you're with, you know, you give 110%. So, yeah, of course, then you just
exactly.
Travel. We like to move on. So, but yeah, to me, it's quality time. So, what's yours? Acts of service? Or?
Me? Yeah, acts of service, quality time, not quantity. Affection, very big on the touch. On the body language. Yeah, the touch.
Tom, you're listening? Tom, you're listening, Tom.
Tom is listening, and he had a question for you, Ray. Not many people know much about your country, Lithuania, but he's saying, yeah, due to the long winters and cold, are you like the Russians? Do you really think a lot about the meaning of life, make a lot of great music, and have introspective skills, which is what, I don't know, levitating or playing chess on 15 boards at the same time? What are the Lithuanians really good at? Weightlifting. Are the Lithuanians only good at weightlifting, or can they do other things that we don't know about that they're really good at? What?
Sailing too.
Sailing? I don't know.
Gosh, there's so many things.
Tell me, what Lithuania is famous for?
See, we only have 100 kilometers of the coast, so it's not that much. Whereas, you know, our neighboring countries have like 800, and then Estonia has like lots of islands, you know, which is super beautiful. So we don't really have much of a sea culture, especially like the weather that friendly, you know, for the majority of the year. So yeah, we definitely do a lot of like introspective things, you know. It just depends on the people, you know. There's a lot of different kinds of people who have different interests, you know. So people you know, like to drink alcohol, you know, so Russians are very famous for that, but I don't know if they drink more than Lithuanians. But then we also have all these, you know, but we also have, you know, the more cultural things, you know, like before, now it's quarantine here, so before quarantine I joined a really amazing of what do they call it in English? I'm not really sure. It's like it's singing in groups. So it's basically, for example, if we were singing in a group, let's say I had 3 people with me, Julia and Jeff, you each had 3 people with you, and then we would drink. We would sing. Let's say, do you know Frère Jacques?
Yeah, well, you can do that.
Singing rounds.
Frère Jacques, polyphonics is what you're talking about.
Yeah, polyphonics. That's it. So we have that. Well, we used to have that as a major thing of our culture back in the day, but now, you know, folk things are dying out, and there's a lady who's really amazing, and she's reviving this whole culture. So it was just very powerful to be there and to observe the effects of polyphonics and what singing and holding your own voice, how powerful that is, you know, because if you're singing in a group, you have to be very mindful about your own voice and being very in tune with yourself and coming from your own power. And, you know, in the beginning, it takes some time. And then eventually you start hearing the other people around you, you know, and it becomes a whole sound, a whole symphony. And it's so beautiful. So there's that. There's, you know, we go dancing. There's actually a lot of things going on. Like when I remember my life in London, it wasn't as active as it is here. Like maybe it was because of studying, but there's just so many things to do. We go to nature a lot, we move a lot, but yeah, nature is like the main thing as well, you know. For me at least, I love to go to the forest, I love to go to the lake, I love going for walks, I love to exercise, you know, meditate. I love my house, I love my family, you know. So it's just, we spend a lot of time indoors as well, because, you know, you can't really spend that much time outside when it's, you know, minus 10 or 20. So we're very innovative, you know. I think cold weather makes you quite sharp, you know, because you have to be very yeah, introspective, go deep.
Is that Celsius?
You know, it's like darkness, you know. Pardon?
Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit when you talk about the temperature?
Celsius.
Yeah,
Celsius.
Celsius, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, minus 20 is like your feet are sticking to the ice and you can't stand on it for more than 10 minutes because it's starting to burn and hurt with normal shoes.
No,
Yeah,
play to you,
exactly.
right? I tell you what we talked about there. I mean, it might have felt, if anybody was listening, we've gone off topic, but we haven't really, because we're talking about relationships here, and we're talking about the relationship with yourself, but the dynamics of other people in terms of mental health, isn't it? And so one of those mental health issues is really, what's your passion? And if you follow your passion, you know, you can really uplift your own, your whole body, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. It trigger off endorphins, or what does it do? Having a passion like that.
Oh, well, you're the one who's declared your passion for dancing. So, Jeff, you tell us which organs of yours are getting really excited when you think about dancing.
Well, integrating right brain, left brain, front and back. I mean, NLP is all about that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think dancing is more fun than NLP.
I think it's a balance. Yeah, but it's you know, just all the different ways that we can use to stay in our center, you know, whether it's, you know, diet, not exciting system with unnecessary, substances like processed foods and sugar and all of those things that don't make us feel luxurious and beautiful and vital and energetic. Maybe fasting times, that's very grounding as well. Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's qigong, maybe it's just breathing, maybe it's talking to somebody. So it's all very, very relative, to your situation. But unless you listen to yourself, you're never going to know what it is that your body is asking you to do.
I agree with that. You?
Perfect. So we've got Rasa really resonating with what you just said there. So, Rai, if listeners now and in the future want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
So you have my Facebook, which is, I believe, linked in the talk here. And then you have my website as well if you want to keep up with the things that I'm working on. And I share a lot of the things that work for me, the practices, the herbs, the recipes and things like that. I'll be posting a lot more and transitioning into video content as well. So you can check out my website, expandinhealth.com. And yeah, just if you have any questions or anything, just shoot me a message on Facebook.
And we've got the Facebook site.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff's saying we don't have your Facebook handle.
So you can just find Rai Kersyte, facebook.com site.
Beautiful. Well, Rai, thank you so much for joining us today and just dropping that gem that it is possible to feel luxurious, vibrant, and at peace, and that just beautiful gem about being in relationship with self. I just love that. And the other gems we got from Jeff, singing, the breathing exercises, singing your name, and understanding the adaptogens that are available in the herbal kingdom to help us with support stress. So thank you very much, Rai, and thank you, dear listeners, for joining us. Next week, same time, we are going to be having Damon James join us. Damon James is very interesting. He is a organizer of an Australian CE5 group, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I think along the Stephen Greer protocol. So if you're interested in extraterrestrial life forms or our space brothers, do join us next Thursday evening. And for tonight, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us again, Rai. Jeff, thanks for hosting us.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. It was such a
Right.
Hey.
There you go. So thank you very much.
Hey.